Hello everybody, and hello all YouTube fans and everyone out there. Like you see today, as I'm doing my order marathon, I thought let's go with it. You can see it there. It's a wolf. That's right, it's a wolf. Got this at a reasonable price. It's a nice, beautiful, willy jumper with a wolf. But then we go to my order marathon. That being American Werewolf in London. I remember reviewing this one before, so I figured, what the hell? Let's do it again as it goes to my order marathon. I like this one. It was done by Don Landers. It was shot in 1981. And you could say thanks to Don Landers, he brought back the werewolf film, but in a different way. Say it again, brought back the werewolf film, but in a different way. What do I mean by a different way? Well, as you know, the 1930s and 40s was your typical Universal monster films. You had all the monsters, like the werewolf films, like The Wolf from London, The Wolf Man, the Wolfman, The Return, you know what I mean? You've had them all. You know what I mean? If I became a teen werewolf, you've had them all. And it was during the Hammer days, they bought one that was colorised. I remember doing it. It was also called The Wolfman, starring Oliver Reed. But sad to say, it was the first to be colorised, and sad to say, it wasn't that successful. Even though I reviewed it, didn't mind it, wasn't a bad little story. Oliver Reed played a really good role in it. It wasn't that successful. They did sort of ones, but as cheap as they went, they have used dogs. Not making this shit up, they used dogs. So werewolf films died out after that. I mean, there's here there, and they went cheap with little doggies, woof woofs. But, as you can see, my beautiful wolf, it was only in 81 Don Landis decided to do a remake. Now, you already know what I think about remakes. You already know. I think they suck assholes. But on this occasion, Don Landis decided he wanted to do his own version of it. He didn't want to do the Lapser Soroves, which was well known in the 30s, where the Porter Tamner put a bit of fur on you. Porter Tamner put a bit more fur on. He didn't want to do all that. He wanted to do something a bit more updated, after the success of Star Wars, after the success of Alien and all that, practical effects was a new thing. Even back then, it was new, it was practical. How I miss them golden days of practical effects. How I miss them. So he wanted to do that. He wanted to do a werewolf film with a difference. And what a fucking difference. You know what I mean? It was a comedy. It was a love story. It was a horror. It was a werewolf film with a difference. It had everything. And what else I like about American Werewolf in London was it was done in London, which is a typical American film. So that even London can do a good one. But you do get two well-known American actors. So anyway, just took the story short. It starts off with the song Full Moon, and then you've got two American lads. They're running around in this countryside, and that's when they go to a pub. Typical Snoopy people, and one of his mates, being Taper Tessa's mate, says something stupid like, "What is that sign up there?" And they get kicked out. Now, as you already know, at that time, the director was famous. John Landis was famous for doing films that say like Animal House and The Blue Buffers, which was both comedies. So this was like a different known for him. But I do love the bit, they're walking around in the moors, you hear this sound, you don't really see it, but then one jumps up and kills David Chesterton's friend. Stats is here, but he gets out of dodge because the same Snoopy people shoot the wolf and it dies. And he doesn't die because it ends the fucking film. But you've got the ideas in obstacle, he's having all these weird dreams. And I always wonder, I remember saying this before, I always wonder whether this was the first time there's a nightmare in a nightmare. And people want to know what the fuck I'm on about. It's been done in a lot of horror films, whether it was Alfie, whether it's other horror movies. I call it a nightmare in a nightmare because this scene when I was a kid stared the fucking living shit out of me. That is what I've been watching it. I was a fucking kid, but I remember watching it when it first came out on VHS, and it scared the shit out of me. To see where he's having a nightmare, and he's watching, let me think, what's he watching now? The Muppet Show. That's well known, that era. So his family's watching the Muppet Show. You get a knock on the door, and these weird monster soldier things come out, shoot his mum, shoot his dad. Don't saw it because the time is too keep it mild, even though the movie was rated 18. Get the word right, offence error, 18. But you got the idea he killed his little brother and sister, even though they don't saw it because, they just do down it. It's kind of happy about they did it there, the page it saved, not showing kids getting killed. But you got the idea they did. And then if that ain't nasty enough, David just folk get slipped and you find out it's a nightmare. You've got a nurse who he fancies on the way. And she opens the curtains, very thinking it's a nightmare. This big monster thing comes out and fucking stabs her to death. And again, she's dead. It's a nightmare. And I love that. And I do remember the DVD's own special features. It's quite funny. There's a bit where she's lying there and they're putting fake blood on her mouth and she's starting to eat still. I thought that was quite a funny bit. And so on. You do get actors who pretending to be porn stars. Also, be wondering if they were porn stars or actors being that. In a scene where David Tessiter goes in the set cinema. Michael Tatson, when he was alive, may he rest, obviously saw this film, that being American Werewolf in London, and it inspired him to get John Landis to direct one of the most classic music videos we all know, that being Filler. So, because then it's impressed a lot of things, and when you think about American Werewolf in London, inspired a lot of other films. It was a new known for the werewolf films. Same there, you had The Howling, you had Roofing. So you had like two well-known werewolf films. It's fancy because of this. It brought out the damn practical effects. How I miss them practical effects. The famous scene with David Tessiter turning into a werewolf. Oh, he's ripping his shirt off. He's ripping his toes off. He's changing. His face changes. It goes, stretches out. Them effects, even today, kick the shit out of fucking CDR. They really do. And the director did the effects, who we all know was the same director did the effects for Star Wars, won an award 1 year after, being 1982. Won an award for the special effects, and rightly so. Right there, fucking so. He got a few good gruesome deaths. I mean, see one an hand on the floor, you see a woman and a couple get ripped to pieces. Got an idea it kills an homeless die. So this werewolf doesn't fuck about. But I don't like the idea they make it painful. He's screaming in pain, up the bit with his hands stretches. But it's done to effects. I like the bit with David Testa's mate. He sees him here and there, and he's like a ghost. And every time you see him, he's rotting away. I like that bit. I like the bit in the set cinema. I like the bit in the set cinema because I felt it had a bit of dark humour where he got all the ones who he killed, throwing him out to kill himself. You can hang yourself. You can electrocute yourself. Die you're done. Do I not need a silver bullet? So I kind of like that. I thought that was quite funny. And the dark bit is changing in. A little bit again with his face changes and he's killing the people in the set cinema. A little bit he jumps out and he rips that copper's fucking head off. That's a good scene. And again, it has a sad ending. I always felt they should have used a bit where the army had silver bullets, because they always mentioned in a werewolf film that the only thing to kill a werewolf is silver bullets. Which I did know there was a fuck up there, but if you see the bit with the army driving the dogs and you see them loading guns, you will notice they're using dull bullets. And if you know anything about werewolf films, it's always been the silver bullet. But I let it fight, it's entertainment, the film. So he gets killed. The nurse cries a fucking river, sad ending. The only thing that got me is you get at the sad ending, which I felt they should just add it with science, music, not music, sorry, words coming up, end the fucking movie. But no, he's dead. The nurse is crying. What do you get? Blah 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 blah. You got me standing alone, and I'm thinking, what the fuck? What the fucking dodgy idea to end the movie? A really, really sad, a really, really emotional scene. That he was killing people, but it was a werewolf. It wasn't him. Very, very sad. It gets shot to fuck. She's crying a river, and what do you get at the end? Blah 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 blah. And I think, oh god. Well, the rest of it's not a bad film. There's a lot of different versions of Full Moon, which I didn't mind. And, you had a lot of other classic songs like Moon Dance, another well-known song. So I know there was going to be a werewolf song that was sang, but for some reason got scrapped. And a lot of other well-known songs. You know what I mean? It was a good one, and it's a classic. Even today, I think American Werewolf in London is a classic. It's got humour, dark humour. It's sad at the end, even though the song spoils it, Full Moon. But apart from that, it's still a good one. Donald Landis made a good one. You know what I mean? To me, a 15-star fucking rating. It's a lot better than some of the shit werewolf films today. And thanks because of American Werewolf in London, it brought a lot of werewolf films out. I love whether it be The Howling. That did the sequels were never that good, but Howling 2 I can watch that as a time waster. It's a good comedy, you know it's not supposed to be a comedy. You know what I mean? You've had other good werewolf films. You've had the new look with Teen Wolf, with Michael J. Fox, damn good comedy. Second one, piece of shit, original classic. You know what I mean? You had loads of great werewolf films in that era. Loads. And like I say, it's a love story. It's a tragedy at the end. You don't want him to die, but you know it's not going to be a lucky fate for him, like in most werewolf films. And it was a new look. And it generally made Don Landers. He won an award. Did a lot of other good films after. You know what I mean? What can I say about American Werewolf in London? It's a classic. But other than that, be smart, be safe. Into then, do more movies, more movie reviews on the way. Into then. Oh, and another thing I almost forgot. I can forget this. There's a date scene where David Tessiter's insulting Prince Charles, which is funny enough, it's the king now, and he's calling him a faggot. I know it's an insulting word, it's one of those people sets their attitude, but to write that, you notice at the end of American Werewolf in London, when the words come up, it actually says, congratulations to Prince Charles and Prince Di, which is a bit of history. It was the same there when Prince Charles got married to Princess Di, may she rest. So I thought I like that. Little touch to it. This is funny now, as we all know, Prince Charles is no longer the prince, he's now the king. But I did like that little touch, which I almost forgot to say. But other than that, American Werewolf in London, it's longer than what I normally do, but it rightly preserves it. But into then, again, 15-star rating. But into them, people, be smart, be safe. See you later.